Hello and welcome again to another VGOSTRAM episode. This week we will be covering Pokemon Black and White, as well as some songs from Black 2 and White 2. I say some songs because practically most of the songs from the first game are in the second game, with some additives and some removals, like Black Forest is going to be in this, and White Forest, or Black City and White Forest, which as far as I remember, isn't in the sequels. But yeah, I am your host this week, Eric, aka Giraffe, and today I'm followed with my obvious co-host.
Gamlicker or Cody. That was a really long intro.
It was. But anyways, it was actually hard making this list because I wanted it condensed more than we've been doing. We've been doing like a 30-song reviews, and there was a lot of good songs, and I hard kept myself at 20, just so we're not having extremely long episodes every time.
Not only that, but this is Pokemon, a game that we've both been playing since, the mid to late 90s. So there's going to be a lot of tangents.
Oh, yeah.
So expect another long episode just
based off principle for what we're into.
Is there anything else before we start?
There's a lot of good songs. It was hard to narrow it down, especially outside of like battle music. I had to think about which battle themes to exclude, which were quite a bit actually. And then as far as like towns, there was some pretty good town music, and then there was like the seasonal town music. And I'm like, this is hard, and I don't want to go through every season for the towns. Cities don't have multi theme, but towns do.
What's the difference?
There's just a style difference. There's a song for each season.
I mean, what's the difference between like a city and a town?
One's bigger.
Okay.
And so the towns, like I said, they're bigger, and their entrances and their like boxes are much larger in comparison to the towns. The towns are rather small and conjoined in the game, so they're technically running within like the routes themselves.
Okay. That's what I was looking for.
I just had to get there.
Now you good?
Yeah.
All right. The very first song we'll be starting with is Accumula Town.
I also don't have my glasses, so if I sound like I'm struggling, it's because I'm trying to read the names while like squinting really hard. I had to put this in like the first song.
So which one is this?
This is literally the first town you're in.
That's
the
what
one you start off, and it's so happy.
Just for reference for everybody else, I have not played this game since it came out. So my memory of a lot of the stuff is very hazy.
My memory is a little more fresh, and I would say outside of Gen 2, Gen 5 is probably like one of my personal favorites.
Same. Even though I said I only played it once.
Yeah, I played Black version twice, and I beat Black version twice. I beat Black 2 once. And I want to make a revisit to both, but I can't do it back to back.
I still have yet to play White 2.
Which is a good game. The story is amazing.
I will get there. I still have White 2, Omega
Ultra
Ruby, and Ultra Moon left to play. Every other mainline game I have played.
I mean, Moon and Ultra Moon are just like alternate endings to the same game. For being honest.
I mean, that's fine, I guess. You got it for me for Christmas one year, so I didn't pay for it.
I'm still paying for it to this day.
What does that mean?
It's a joke. But anyways, it's weird. So personally for me, this song, or actually the game rather, I passed over like my very first attempt at playing through the game. And I ended up not liking it initially because a lot of the Pokemon were like weird looking to me. Or at least I didn't like the initial designs. I love the evolution designs for a lot of Pokemon. It's just some of them like Blitzel and like Watchdog. A lot of the early Pokemon I didn't like. And then it's like when you get past that, it's like, oh my god, these are some dope looking Pokemon. Yeah, the initial like starters are good. Like Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott. Like they're good starters. I actually enjoy using all of them.
I like Snivy.
Yeah, I like Snivy. It's weird because I feel like the starters are the worst Pokemon in your party in that game. They tend to be like your Pokemon that holds you back a little bit. But or at least in what I've dealt with. As far as the song though, for as little amount of time you're in the like first town, it is like such a happy feeling. It's so happy go lucky.
Yeah, I actually made the note like out of all the gens, this probably is one of the stronger beginning songs.
This is literally the first town, like the starter town.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any that have as memorable as a start. I don't remember any of them from Pallet Town to Little Root Town.
You know, Pallet Town.
I
Be
don't.
real.
Huh?
Let's be real.
I'm trying to remember and I'm drawing blanks.
But no, you're right. This song blows every other starter town out of the water.
And if you're like me, who would watch that stream where it's two Fiorettes walking on an escalator until Gen 4 gets released.
Is it how you pronounce it?
I pronounce it as Fiorette.
I just thought it was Furret.
It works either way. But, I mean, the song itself, if you think about it, it's very repetitive.
Yes, it is very short.
It's very short, very repetitive. But I really like it nonetheless. So, I'm actually going to give it a 7.
I gave it that too, but before we move on to the next song, I just want to talk a little more about the song and like series compositionally. So, I think this is the first game that the music was like truly allowed to breathe.
I agree
think
to
it
that.
shows because like Diamond and Pearl kind of had some like stuff like this where it's multi-layered, but I don't think it was as complex. And yeah, Gen 5's music is pretty well regarded for good reason.
Yeah, I would say Gen 4 started the sound, but Gen 5 perfected it.
That's a good way of putting it.
Because a lot of the sound files are going to be very similar or pretty much the same to Gen 4.
Because they're both on DS.
Yeah, it's literally the same sound fonts. But I mean, if you think about it, Gen 1 and Gen 2 sound very different for both being on Game Boy or original Game Boy games.
I don't know exactly like the science behind the Game Boy stuff, so I can't really touch that. But all I just know, like, Gen 1's music is so boring. And Gen 2, they'd introduced jazz.
It's jazzy. And then Gen 3, trumpets.
And then Gen 4 was kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, Gen 4 wasn't bad. I would say as far as a generation, it was very middle of the pack. Like, compared to Gen 1, obviously it started all. So, it has a lot of bias, whether it's biased love or biased hate. So, that one's going to be either around the middle or just like upper. It just kind of depends on when you started. Then Johto is either loved or hated purely because of the leveling curve.
It's whack, but I'm one of the people, or Gen 2 is easily my favorite.
You know, it's my favorite game, so it's probably the Pokemon game I played the most. And then Gen 3.
So I was trying to think about Gen 4 and like where it would be on the list, and I'd put it below 2, 3, and 5. So yeah, it's about middle-ish.
Yeah. And then obviously 5 is 5. It's literally the second best in my opinion. I would then say Gen 6 is kind of like on the lower end, along with Gen 7. Just because I mean, they're not exactly memorable. There's never a situation you're put in onto those games where you are struggling. And then Gen 8 is like a mixed bag. The game is memorable because of the characters, but the game itself is also very easy.
Bare bones.
Yeah, it's very simple.
I think I would have to agree on Gen 6 and 7. Like I enjoyed them, but there's nothing really memorable about them. So yeah, you got Mega Evolutions and you got the Z moves, but Z moves was so pointless.
Yeah, I didn't like Z moves. I like Mega Evolutions. I just wish the game threw more at you. Like in terms of, well, it's supposed to be a special thing and only the boss type characters have them. And they were never an issue.
I'm going to be honest. So I played it only a couple of years ago. I literally did not touch Mega Evolutions outside of the Force tutorial.
That makes sense. I only did it because I really like Mega Evolutions. Like I like all the forms, the designs. I felt it was a fresh way to make Pokemon's cooler. And it made me pick up some Pokemon I probably wouldn't use, as well as continue using Pokemon I would use. But I feel like if they upped the difficulty a bit, or like they just made certain points challenging, because I think in Gen 6 I probably changed my party the most. Because it was so easy that I just ended up rotating out Pokemon at like a very constant level. That's actually when I first started doing that, is Gen 6, because you're not very struggling. You have like very easy ways of gaining XP and whatnot. So the only Pokemon I kept statically was Greninja, and I would just rotate out Pokemon in my bank.
Yeah, I've never been the kind of person to like really rotate any parties. Like I'll pick up the Pokemon that interests me, and then that's pretty much my party, regardless of like makeup.
I try to make it somewhat balanced, but like I said, if it's just too easy, then I just forego it. I'll swap out Pokemon. I try to intentionally make it harder.
Right. Oh, and one last note about the song. First part of it, like, it's very to me. But I do really like the second half where it picks up and becomes bossa nova, like this part. But it's a shame the song's only like a minute, 30-second loop.
Yeah, I wish it was a little longer, but it is what it is.
We will move on
to the second song. And is the first first battle theme, which I picked for the trainer one. I wasn't a fan of the wild Pokemon, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put trainer battle to fill in like the early. There's going to be kind of like spots where it's just like town, battle, city, battle, town, battle, event, or whatever. And then there's just like a point where it's just town, route, whatever, and then battle, 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 and then back to like going into a steady rotation.
I mean, it's fine.
I was trying to strike a balance.
So one thing about this song, like that I kind of like but also not like, is that it's very clearly inspired by Gen 1.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, if you think about it, Gen 5 as a whole is inspired by Gen 1. It was just kind of like a fresh start entirely. Completely new region, like always, but no returning Pokemon.
Until
Yeah, until Black and White 2. And post game for the first games. But honestly, it was a very bold move, and I think it was good. A lot of people may have been off-putted by it at first, but there's some really, really cool Pokemon designs.
Vanillite.
Trubbish.
All right, now that the meme's out of the way.
I actually don't like. I don't meme on Trubbish. I actually like the design for Trubbish and Garbodor, and the ice cream ones are probably like the only ones that bug me, and the early Pokemon. I don't like those designs. Everything else is fine.
What gen was Klefki?
Klefki, I believe, is Gen 6. Because that's a fairy steel type, I think. Because I want to say it was Clink, Clank, and Kling Clang is in the Unova Dex. Yeah, I want to say that's right. And then you have the Electros type or line, which became one of my favorites in terms of like electric type Pokemon.
For which one?
The Electrox one.
I'm gonna say it. I'm one of the few people who actually like Audino.
I think it looks better than Chansey. I wish it just wasn't memed on as just being a stat stick for like, or an XP like bonus. I mean, it's cool to get the Audino like EXP, but I kind of wish it did a little bit more.
It was in my main party too.
I remember that.
And you were giving me so much crap for it.
Because it's like, there's so many other Pokemon.
Yeah, but Audino.
And then they gave it a Mega Form.
Yeah, they did.
I don't understand why.
Could not tell you. And then they also gave it a Gundam form.
What?
There is some picture I saw a long time ago where it like transformed into a Transformer.
I don't remember that.
I'll have to find it.
Yeah. As for the song, it's very Gen 1 inspired, but also has like its own mix to it. It's kind of like a remixed version of Gen 1. As it's essentially just adding more current sound fonts and sound effects.
So it's not that it's like a direct like ripoff or anything, but it's more just like the beats of like the Gen 1 stuff. They're like very dissonant, minor, and like progression. The progression is like the main thing. I actually think it is the same progression.
I'm fairly sure it is.
Yeah, that's like I simultaneously like it and dislike it because like, you know, it is a callback. So motifs are cool, but then at the same time it's Gen 1. And I already don't like most of like the battle music from Gen 1 because it's just so dissonant and nothing.
The gym leader battles from Gen 1 are dope though.
Gym, Elite Four, and Champion, easily the best.
Isn't Gym and Elite 4 the same song?
Is it?
Fairly sure it is.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Champion.
Yeah, Champion song.
That song is great.
A bop. That is the best song in that game.
I don't really have much more to talk about this song.
Neither do I, but I give it a 7.
I give it a 6. So it's like just over average.
I felt it was very average. Like
7 is way over average.
I feel like 7's about average.
You are dumb if you think that's the case. 5 is literally average. 5 is literally, it's not good, it's not bad, it's smack dab in the middle.
Well, I don't hate it. I like it.
5 is not hating it. Don't be like the My Anime List people. Oh, I hated this anime. It reminded me of when I was a child and I was beaten. It is just awful. It made me feel bad. 9 out of 10.
Definitely very, very, very off.
It's like if you want a true reading on My Anime List, just take off like 2 or 3 points and then you'll have your accurate reading.
All right, then. All right. So I do think it's above average of a song.
Yeah.
So I'll give it the 7.
7 is still considered good.
I like it, all right?
That's fine. I'm not trying to argue you not liking it. I'm just pointing out that 7 is not average.
It's still above average.
It's above average, and it's probably more considered good than it is above average.
We're just going to go next. We're just going to go next.
This is going to keep coming up.
I will choose my words more wisely.
Next up is Burbank City, California.
It's a Burbank with a V.
It was a joke.
Besides, the game takes place in New York.
I'm sure there's a New York and California.
I don't think there is.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was. But anyway, so yeah, Burbank. I have not heard the song because I said I haven't played White 2. And this was a surprise hit for me. But, I mean, if you know me, that's not a surprise.
I knew you would like it. The moment, because I remembered it the moment I clicked on it, and I'm like, oh, this is a good song. And I knew you were going to be, instantly hooked on it.
Yeah, it's jazzy. It's good.
It's very jazzy. It's just so out of nowhere.
It's also like a bluesy jazz, which makes it sad.
I think I actually wrote that down. Yeah, I actually wrote that down. And verbatim for what I said. It has almost a blues feel to it. Maybe a bit of jazz.
It's primarily jazz, but yeah, there's blues in it. The song, funnily enough, this song actually reminds me of Gen 7 because, Howley.
Well, there's some Gen 7-like songs because, Gen 7 is supposed to be France. And
Gen 7? France?
I mean, Gen 6, sorry. Gen 6 is supposed to be France. And there's some very French-sounding songs in here.
Yes, there are. And one of them is my favorite ever.
You're not alone in that fact.
We will get to that when we get there.
But yeah, as far as musically, I really like this. It's a really good city song.
Feels kind of out of nowhere, but then again, that's kind of Pokemon in general.
I'm fairly sure it's for probably going to be your least favorite gym leader, just style-wise.
What is it, Poison?
Yeah.
God, being a bird is pain.
Being a bird trainer. Pain.
But the strongest thing to me about the song is it's the bass tone. I know it's MIDI, but it's an actually good sounding MIDI.
Imagine if they used real instruments instead of using MIDI.
We'll get there in 2057 when Pokemon advances to the next tier.
No, don't say that. Some people are going to... Half the fan base for Pokemon is going to say, why are you bullying Game Freak? They're a startup company. They're barely getting their britches.
Yeah, with the biggest media income in the universe.
They could literally have 2 teams split up for one that is the main series, and you could put all the stops into that one, and you could just have a side series to work on that just kind of expands some of the other stuff, like what they're now figuring out of doing.
Ain't that something?
It's hey, let's expand on the old stuff.
Game Freak is perpetually 15 years behind the curve. It's with Sword and Shield, they finally caught up to Nintendo 64 graphics.
I mean, their programming's not that great either. They decided to put a version of Lily in every single spot of the game.
Yeah, so if you're not aware of that little tidbit, rather than having Lily spawn in, like whenever you enter next scene. No, there's literally a copy of Lily in every single zone, so they can just like use her model right then and there. Cause why not?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I'm not a programmer in any way, and I know that's not what you want to do. And it's probably way more work than what it's worth.
Just Game Freak. And then they sold us Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, which is like an eighth of a difference. Allegedly.
You'll get to it. You'll like the first half of the game is exactly the same. The ending portions are like if you were to stack Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon to each other, you pretty much get like a fuller ending. Like you get to deal with how Guzma's a butthole and how Lucamine's a terrible mother. And then at the end of Ultra Moon or Sun and Moon, you get the resolution to that. They become better people instead of just out of nowhere, they're just no longer bad.
Wow, isn't that something? Complete storytelling.
Pokemon, we split our storytelling in two.
And charge you for the same price.
And I don't mean to make this sound like I hate Game Freak or I hate Pokemon. I love Pokemon. I just hate laziness in the development.
That goes for a lot of stuff, but it's very noticeable in Pokemon.
It's extremely noticeable in Pokemon.
Considering it's their flagships.
Yeah, like people get mad at EA because they re-release the same game over and over. That is essentially what Pokemon's doing. Very few additions, very few innovations, and we're charged with the $60 price tag. And DLC that is just about as much as the base game.
And only like a quarter of the content.
Yeah, it's... I probably wouldn't be upset as much if they just included the stuff into the game. It would feel more full. Or like... I don't know, like the game just had more to it. Like there was more meat. Like we're barely getting the skeleton, and like the meat is like falling off the skeleton.
Not in the good way, like you want to eat meat.
Like yeah, it's ribs. It's just trying to hold itself together. And I say this as someone who likes Sword and Shield. Like if I like it right now for the bare bonesness that it is, imagine if it had the development time that it deserves. Because I love Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness and Pokemon Colosseum. Those were done amazingly. Like those tell a full story, completely original plot for Pokemon, and that is. And then every Pokemon has unique animations. Like sure they reuse the attack effects for like all the attacks, but at least the Pokemon moves in a specific way based on if it's going to do a physical hit or like a special hit, or say it's going to use fire blast. It shoots a fire thing out of its mouth. Everything is proper to where it needs to go from. Use a Blastoise in like any of the Gen games that have 3D models. Why is Blastoise shooting stuff out of his mouth? He has cannons. He's never used the cannons since going to 3D. And then Pokemon, when they faint, have specific animations. Like, that gives the Pokemon so much more personality.
That's it. That's it right there. The games, the newer Pokemon games are lacking personality.
The characters have personality. It's not even really about the Pokemon anymore.
Except for How.
We're not talking about How. He's not even in this conversation. I mean, sure, Hop is How's twin because they reused all his animations. But I prefer Hop over How.
Easily. And I hate Hop. All
All
right.
right. I was gonna say I think we're good to move on. I don't know if we scored though.
We didn't, but before you do, I just want to make one little statement. So one thing about this song in particular with the bass, there's a faint like little boom with the bass that you should be able to hear. Usually whenever they make DS games, they like completely remove the like any sort of boom from the bass because you're playing through like a half-inch speaker.
Mini speakers.
But it's in this one, but I'm not sure if that's because it's like the game super collection or whatever it was called, where they like kind of edit it back a bit, or if it's just they left it in. But it's a good touch. I forgot what game it was. Or no, I remember it was Smash, where we were playing Smash 4 on our 3DSs before the Wii U version came out. And then you got the soundtrack, and then we were listening to a song that was in there, but you can hear the bass in the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what it was, though.
That is also where my love of Xenoblade started.
Okay, now we can score it.
All right. So I'm going to give it a below average score of 7.
It's not below average.
It's a joke. It's a joke. I really like the song. I'm giving it a 7.
Okay.
I would honestly almost give it an 8.
I gave it a 9.
I knew you would love the song, so.
And I do.
So yeah, the next song is going to be the Gym Leader Battle, which kind of gives you that hint of what the Elite Four is going to sound like. It's a small tidbit of it.
So this song reminds me simultaneously of Gen 4 and 3. Because the leads are very 3. And then the kind of like, what do you call it?
The sound file.
Well, yeah, that's a given. But I mean, like the pulsing bass is very Gen 4.
Yeah, I would say it sounds more closer to Gen 4 than Gen 3 for me.
Trumpets. I'm not right now, but before.
I mean, just because there's trumpets doesn't automatically mean it's associated
Gen
with Gen
3
3.
trumpets. Eric.
Gen 3 is just heavy trumpets.
No, it's only trumpets. Did you know that actually exists?
What?
Gen 3 soundtrack, but it's all trumpets.
I'm gonna have to find that.
I'm pretty sure that's the thing.
I want to say that Gen 5 is probably known for its deeper bass sounds, because they use a lot of like bass for like some of the more important songs. It's very noticeable, and I say this when playing it on the DS like speakers.
Okay, so they probably left it generally in.
Like what you're hearing right now, you hear that very well on the game, and then you hear it very well when playing the because they use that same type of bass melody in the Elite Four theme, but it's faster.
I did make a note of that, and a couple of other songs too.
Well, I stole your note.
I guess I'll go first. This song actually does not do a lot for me. That's pretty much it.
Really?
Yeah.
I was expecting like a lot more. I like it personally. It gives the feeling of like an imposing force, or just like, this is the obstacle. Gym leaders are supposed to be an obstacle in like a mini dungeon, essentially. And I find both the melody and the beat of the game I really enjoy. It's not like out of this world, but it does enough for me to really like it. And for that, I give it a 1.
Nice.
No, I actually give it a 6.
So to add just a positive note, I suppose, I do like the weird like key and mode changes throughout the song to like keep it fresh enough. But like it's okay, so I'd give it like a 5.5. That would actually technically be above average.
Yeah, I guess. If you're being technical.
And truthful.
All right, for the next song, we have Nakreen City.
I don't think I have to really say anything to you.
It's French.
Yes, I like this song a lot because, again, it's jazzy and it's French.
It kind of reminds me of Gen 2 for the... What is that place called? It's Olivine City?
I'm trying to remember the music off the top of my head, but nothing's coming.
It just reminds me of that feel. Not really the style, but like the feel of the music is very similar.
I did make a weird note of that. So, like, just because something's jazzy in Pokemon doesn't mean, like, automatic. Oh, Gen 2, it's all connected. It's just, like, it is jazzy. And, like, there's something about the lead that is very similar to how Gen 2 is written, but it's not directly, it doesn't sound like Gen 2.
It just shares a style. I mean, I don't know if you would say it's influenced by Gen 2, but it has a feel.
Yeah, like stylistically, I would say stylistically it is different than Gen 2, but there are similarities in the lead writing. Like this part with the accordion.
That's an accordion.
That is an accordion. Anyway, this reminds me of like a Disney song, and I can't remember what it is. Like classic Disney, I believe.
It almost sounded like a waltz to me.
It is.
Huh. So I did catch that. So I wanted to say it with confidence. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about music enough to say that with confidence.
Actually, I wouldn't say that this is a waltz. It just happens that it's in 3/4.
Which is a waltz beat or time signature.
Yes.
So if you are at a waltz or at a party like this and people are waltzing, you could play the song.
On a completely unrelated tangent, this reminded me of a Simpsons joke where Mr. Burns was holding like some kind of like big ball, and then he was mad at the band for playing in 3/4, and he's like, "What is this? Like, play it in 4/4 like real musicians." And then they add like an extra beat, and it's super awkward, and everyone's tripping over each other. I'll have to link that if I can find it on YouTube.
It's such a specific part that I don't remember it.
I think it was one of like the newer-ish seasons, like after 2010.
So not as good Simpsons.
Before like the horrible drop-off.
That was still after the movie, I think.
Yes, the movie came out in 2009, I think. No, 7 or 8. I think I watched it in sophomore year.
I don't remember who I watched it with. But yeah, as for the song itself, it's very relaxing. It's got a very steady pace. And it gives me a very Gen 4 feel too, for obvious reasons. But there's not really much for me to really say on this song, personally. Like, I think it's a good song. I think it's about above average, kind of like a 6.
Wow.
So,
I gave it an 8.5.
yeah. I made sure to put songs I know you would enjoy.
Thank you.
I'm trying not to put biased songs for me. But there will be songs that are biased.
Of course. I mean, that's what I did with Shadow of the Colossus.
Wasn't it just like the entire soundtrack?
No, there's a couple of songs that didn't make it that were also like the 20-second like event sounds, essentially.
That makes sense.
So I just threw in the ones that I liked a lot. Yeah, good song, jazzy. I guess next song is End Battle.
I really like End's battle theme. It was a really well done song that gets enhanced later on.
All right, I wasn't going to say anything about that yet, but
I'm just mentioning it for now. I'll save like the very important bits of the later song when it comes up.
I don't like this song that much.
You don't like this song?
Yeah, but I do like the enhanced version. To me, like the bass is, funnily enough, the bass is like the most
Prominent.
prominent and changing.
Like I said, this game's all about bass.
I'm not going to sing that.
I say that because I hear the bass every time. Like the bass is very prominent in most of the songs. I mean, granted, if you actually listen to like the soundtrack or the OST with headphones, you can always definitely hear it.
Yep. Probably even with like cheap skull candies and whatnot. God, I've not used earbuds since like high school.
I literally can't.
My ears canals are weird.
So are mine.
It hurts.
I slip out of mine. They don't fit.
That would do it.
And trust me, my ears are clean. They just don't stay in. Yeah. So, despite N being a more pacifist type of rival and like not wanting to really battle, he is a pretty intimidating battle theme. Like it's very intense.
I'll give you that.
Like for a character who he's very important to the story, obviously. But compared to like your other rivals, I don't even think I'd put the rival battle themes in
I
here.
don't think you did.
Yeah, like I said, I had to cut some. And I want to say, I mean, you battle Bianca a lot more than you battle Sharon. But I felt like N is the true rival to the main character.
He's the threat.
Yeah. Like, he's literally the character's foil. Or is supposed to be. But you know, when you're a silent protagonist, it's hard to portray that.
Half-Life did it right.
Did it? I never really played Half-Life as much as I wanted.
Apparently, if you want to play it these days, play Black Mesa. It's like the remade version.
Is it just like an actual remade version, or
They apparently changed some stuff about it. Like, I guess fleshed out some things, but also changed how some things work. So it's divided, but it's better than playing like, you know, what was it, like 97 or something when the first one came out.
I'll look into it eventually. I know I wanted to play Half-Life 2 because it looked fun.
I remember I had it, but I just never played it.
I remember a very weird thing. You could grab like babies and throw them at the guards.
I don't remember anything about that.
I remember like just different like. So back when G4 used to be all about tech and gaming,
Yeah, and existed.
and existed, I always used to watch X Play and all those shows. So when it would show Half-Life 2, it looked really fun. It is. So G4 is the reason I like a lot of the games that I do, because I would never have gone into them if I never seen them. Like World of Warcraft, I would never would wanted to try had I not see it on there. Because on X Play they talked about it a little bit, and then they had it on Sheet for like a little small section on just like how to get certain things. And I saw like how some of the equipment was. I'm like, oh my god, this looks amazing. Of course, now it looks bad.
I don't really have anything to add to that.
But yeah, G4 rip and pepperonis.
Isn't it coming back or something?
Isn't?
That's what I heard. Like sometime earlier this year or last year.
I'll have to look into that. I got so off track. I forgot what I was bringing that up for.
It happens.
But yeah, I like this song a lot.
So would you rate it?
An 8.
I gave it a sub-average score.
You give it a 4?
4.5.
A what?
4.5. There's enough stuff for me that would want me, or that would make me like it, but I just don't.
What?
I don't know how to describe it. Like, I guess it's kind of like a respect for what they're trying to do.
Okay. I'll just leave it at that.
That's for the better. So I don't make myself look any stupider.
Good luck with that. All right. So the next one's Castelia City, which I also like.
It's good. The first thing that came to mind when like re-listening to this song is that it's very Japanese to a fault.
How so?
I don't mean like traditional Japanese. I just mean like their style of writing these days. When it's like, write a video game song. There's just like a lot of tropes that they do. Like the melody writing and like the chord changes are kind of predictable in a way.
It's funny you say that because part of the song reminds me of Sonic Adventure 1.
That is it. That's a good example of what I'm talking about.
I know, because I just thought about that. I'm like, I didn't catch it when I was listening to it before.
But like, I can't really pin it to like a genre or a style aside from just it's a Japanese video game song.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's weird because it has like high energy, but is also calm. Like there's a lot going on, and it's like very happy and cheerful, but like it's not like super duper happy. It's just like it's a chill kind of like vibe to it. If that makes sense.
I see what you're talking about. And there's not really anything I can refute.
See, I'm learning and understanding music and feels and stuff.
It's like the round table thing I told you about this morning.
Round table. But we're on a square table.
Ha 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 ha.
It's not pizza. It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno. Not sponsored, by the way.
Although if you do want to sponsor us,
I would happily eat DiGiorno's. Especially those stuffed crust ones. Those are great.
I've never had that one.
Oh, dude. It changes the game up. I used to have like the regular ones. So the way it was before, this is going to be a very not video game topic. So I would get like the regular DiGiorno pizzas, like microwavable ones. I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. Like this is amazing. Then I found out they had stuffed crust, and that changed the game entirely. Because like if you warm it up not enough, by just a bit to like make that crust be like super gooey, because you have to microwave it a bit for it to like be kind of like hot on the top, but like not super.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so because of the stuffed crust. So I would always ruin the top cheese kind of to make that like crust bit taste like amazing, because the crust part was my favorite.
Where do you buy them?
You can buy them at...
This is for my curiosity. This isn't for like a general...
I'm like, are we legitimately being sponsored? Because I could say we're there. I want to say Ralph's and Target. Those tend to be where I used to buy them.
I'll have to check, because I'm always down for more microwavable.
They're really good, but they're a little expensive. They're like $4.
I mean, that's fine for like just like try it out.
It's not fine when you like to eat multiple. So this story came to mind very weirdly, and it's another not video game thing. So it was the it was one of the days I was still working for Little Caesars, and I ended up having a fever, and I couldn't tell right away because I felt extremely cold. So I like threw on like a sweater. I put on like sweats and everything, and I'm like, man, I'm like kind of hungry, but at the same time, I'm not. So it's a very weird feeling. So I went and warmed up food, which is a DiGiorno's pizza, and it was the stuffed crust one. I'm like, oh, this is gonna taste so amazing, and I'm like eating bits of it, and I'm like, I can't eat this. Like I just am hungry, but at the same time, I'm like, I have no appetite, and I'm looking at it, and I'm all sad because I'm in when I was still there in my old room at my parents' place. I was just watching something on my computer, eating, just like shaking vigorously and not being hungry. So I'm like, I'm enjoying but not enjoying the food at the same time. And it felt like torture. And I regretted warming up that pizza.
Feels bad.
That was a huge feels bad, man. So yeah, that is the memory that comes up when I think of DiGiorno's pizza.
I have a weird semi-related thing. So they don't make it anymore, unfortunately, and that makes me extremely sad. So there is a like microwavable pizza called a Tony's Pizza.
Oh, I remember those.
Those
were
were
good.
the best.
Those were so good.
Why did they get rid of them?
I don't know. They beat the heck out of Celeste pizzas.
I would honestly eat the Tony pizzas over like most fast food like pizza chains.
I honestly agree. Those Tony's pizzas were on another level.
And they're gone. They've been gone for so many years now.
I don't know how Celeste Pizza still survives. I don't know how people swear like that's good. It's just crunchy. It's crunchy pizza with very mediocre cheese, very mediocre pepperonis.
I can't remember the last time I had one. If I've even had one.
All right. So one more tangent, and then we'll get back. We'll get back to the music. Okay, so there was a DiGiorno pizza box that I was saving for a rainy day. That rainy day happened to be when my parents went to, I want to say it was Vegas or something. They were gone or out of town for something. Vegas sounds about right. Either Vegas or Laughlin. So I stayed home. And this was after high school. So we already graduated. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Have everybody come over. And bring the computers and we can game or we can do whatever. That's where I invited you, Mark, and Adam to join us. So everybody's hungry. But we're all broke. We don't have jobs. So what we ended up doing, or what I ended up having that could feed enough people, because we were saving. So we had enough money for food, which was going to be saved for like the day after. And that was going to be chili dogs. So that was the first time I actually had chili.
That was something.
Yeah, I was weird when I was younger. So, anyways, that was only like 10 years ago. Anyways, so I ended up having this DiGiorno pizza box, which is like long pizzas that you could throw in the oven. I was saving that for a rainy day, where I was like, I'm going to just enjoy the heck out of this. Because I had to feed everybody, I'm like, I guess we could use this thing. It's big enough for everybody. I was so sad because I wanted to eat the entire thing by myself.
That feels.
That feels bad, man. I mean, obviously it's good that I fed my friends. But that thing looks so delicious. It looked amazing. It was amazing. I enjoyed every moment of what I had with it. And sadly, I wish I could have had it by myself. But that was not the case. Now, unless you have a story.
I do? Not really. It's not really a story as much as it is just like a
Segue.
comparison.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of the GIF, or I guess video, of it was like Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, like rationing sandwiches, like a loaf of bread, and they're like cut it so paper thin that you could literally see through the bread. That's what that story reminded me of. That's all I got.
Yeah, I can see it. Definitely see it. We didn't score this, did we?
Nope,
Did you have any last final comments?
not really.
All right,
Aside
well,
from it's fine. It's a good song, but
it's good. I like it. Really like it, actually. I give it an 8.
wow, I give it a 6.5.
All right, that's, I guess, a little above average. All right, now we got one of my favorite battle themes from Black 2 and White 2.
Same.
I wasn't sure how you were going to feel about this one. Because it's very different.
It is different.
It's so out of left field for the sequel to Black and White.
I have a lot of comparisons, so I'll let you go first.
All right.
Wait, did you name it?
It's Colress's battle theme. So, it is, like I said, it's the best song in Black and White 2 out of like all the newer songs. Which is saying something because there's a lot of battle themes in this game that are really good, especially in the Pokemon World Cup. And this song is like all over the place, but also works very well to kind of describe how Colress is, because he's a scientist. So they give him all these like electronic-y and kind of like a, I guess I would describe it as kind of like a space area, like, or testing site sound effect by having random counting in the background. And makes sense. Testing sounds or countdowns for a test. He's a scientist who actually created GeneSect.
Yes.
And so it kind of makes sense. He's the creator of this Pokemon and is used by Team Plasma to be a scientist.
Unless my cartridge died, I should still have my level 100 GeneSect.
Well, remember, there's that code to...
I know. But it's like, you can't be authentic.
It's still authentic. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's probably what happened to Adam when he got all his... that were all shiny. You remember that? He had all event Pokemon, but they were shiny versions?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was mad. I'm like, how the heck do you do that? I'm pretty sure he jailbroke his game.
That's not surprising considering who he is. Also, shout out to my actually legit Giratina shiny 100.
Yeah, I never had Giratina.
I forgot which one that was for.
I was never really the type of person to shiny farm. Still not. I've only found one legitimate shiny.
It was from an event.
Oh, never mind. I lost that one. But in terms of actual shinies outside of Red Gyarados, I've only caught one, which was an Elgium that you still have.
Did I not give it back to you?
No, not yet.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You might want to take care of that.
Eventually. I mean, I don't really care for the Pokemon.
I mean,
but you still have Grass Monkey.
If anything happens to your shiny, something happens to my shiny, and I'll be very upset. I farmed a shiny Eevee so I can get a shiny Umbreon. And I think it was like about 800.
That.
No, there's about like, no, yeah, there's about like 800 something eggs, which is pretty low. In actuality,
that's a lot of eggs.
Considering some people go up to like 3K.
That's true. But that tends to be like people that are just breeding. I mean, competitive Pokemon breeding can go quite a while too. Especially if you're trying to get a shiny with perfect EVs.
Why?
Because you hate yourself. That's why I'll play Pokemon Showdown. I won't play competitive Pokemon like in the game. It's just, Unless there's a way, which I think there is now in Sword and Shield, to like up or change
Yep.
your like your nature and then change your EVs.
You have to complete the Pokedex and then beat the battle tower.
Mm.
And I have it, which is why I know. Or no, I think it was something like one of them is for catching and the other one's for eggs.
Yeah, I don't know. I never beat the battle tower.
It was easy.
I don't doubt it is. It was just the battle tower doesn't really seem fun to me.
I mean, considering I just use all rentals, like, yeah,
That's
whatever.
why. It's just like, well, my regular party's not going to be a competitive party. And I don't want to get a competitive party because it takes forever to do all that. So it's like, just rental. And I don't feel the attachment to these Pokemon. Which is weird because I like Battle Frontier because it's all competitive. And I did the Battle Factory, which is all rentals. And beat the level 50 version of the Battle Factory.
I'm going to chalk it up just to being Gen 8.
Okay, that works. But yeah, for Colress's, my one last thing I want to say about Colress's theme.
We haven't even talked about it.
Huh?
We haven't even really talked about it.
I kind of went into it. You haven't talked about it yet. I wanted to say that it sounds very much like a Battle Network style Mega Man game. Like the music is very Battle Network-esque.
Okay, that's actually kind of one of the things I use as an example.
Okay.
So, as I said, like there's a good amount of like inspiration stuff that I've compared. So this one, as we already kind of talked about, I vastly prefer this to N, both versions even.
Really? Well, I kind of feel the same way.
But like this song definitely reminds me of like the hard video game song like music styles that were like popular in the mid 2000s. So like it kind of reminds me of like Mega Man. There's some parts of like Devil May Cry inspiration, like I think the intro. And there's like Metroid with like all the beep boops.
Beep boops.
There's like Sonic. And then like the second half of it reminds me of Persona 4.
Never played yet, so I'll eventually get to it.
And then the weird counting down reminds me of a song from Balance and Composure.
I don't think I know the song.
It's on their third album. I can't remember what it's called. But there's a lot. But yeah, I like the song a lot. I'll give it an 8.
I gave it a 10.
Oh. All right.
Sorry, I was zoned out a little bit there.
And next up, we have Nimbasa City.
Nimbasa. You know what's funny?
What?
This song is very iconic to me.
Why is that?
Because I know who it's for. I know what city it's for.
Oh.
I've been there so many times and I hate that part because he is such a hard gym leader.
Refresh my brain.
It's Nimbasa City is the one for Clay.
What is he again?
The ground gym leader. So for somebody who's not very fond of flying types and tends to use like fire and steel, ground's kind of your weakness.
I don't even think I had a flying.
Pretty sure you always have a flying in your games.
I always try to have a flying, but I don't think any of the birds interested me.
I'm trying to think what the Pokemon would be in that one. I think it's
Pidove?
Yeah, it's Pidove.
I did not have Pidove.
Really? The other thing would be Woobat, but that's like budget Zubat, and I like Zubat better.
Definitely did not have that one.
There was Ducklet and Swanna.
Nope. I literally don't think I had a single bird until I got my Pidgey.
That's right, because You just wanted to beat the game so you get the Pidgey and then you could transfer it over.
My God.
You wanted a Pidgey so bad.
Pidgey is my second favorite, or Pidgeot is my second favorite Pokemon. It's like, you make a game where I can't have Pidgey, like the most common Pokemon besides Rattata or Zubat.
Well, not in that game. I mean, I think it's a common, well, not really a common Pokemon, but you could trade it into White too. Which I'm pretty sure you're probably going to want to do.
Yeah.
Because you're stuck with still a majority of Pokemon from Gen 5 with some new Pokemon sprinkled in.
I think we did that already. Because I think I breeded a Pidgey, and then I gave you the egg, and then I got up to the first Pokemon Center where we could trade.
That sounds familiar. Yeah. I would say if there's an iconic... So, it's weird to say. So, the way I written it down is... For a later gen Pokemon game, this is a very iconic song, which I would say Gen 5 actually has a lot of iconic moments and music for a game or for a series like later in its life, which is kind of weird to say. There's usually when you're in a series this long, a lot of iconic stuff kind of tends to happen, which is kind of happening currently in
Final
Pokemon.
Fantasy
as well. Final Fantasy is definitely missing the iconic part, except for Final Fantasy VII Remake. I feel like there's a lot of iconic moments in that game, which, because it's borrowing iconic moments from the original game. But anyways, the song itself is one that stands out. It's kind of like Lavender Town, how that stands out. Like Goldenrod City, that song stands out. Like, those are iconic songs in a game, and they're like very, especially for the first gen games where they tend to reuse a lot of songs. Those songs were exclusive to certain, or to only a specific city, which is,
I never even thought about that.
yeah, they reused a couple different gym or city and town music within the first game.
I think Fuchsia and my God, what's
Name the gym.
Koga and Sabrina?
Oh, Fuchsia and Celadon.
Isn't that Erica's?
You're right, that is Erica's.
That's what I was thinking too. Saffron.
Saffron.
I think those two share a theme.
And then Ecruteak and Mahogany Town? No. It's
Ecruteak and
I know Ecruteak for a fact shares a theme with another.
it's the one I covered. Like the very first video I did. Cianwood.
Cianwood?
That one.
Cyan.
Those share a song.
Yeah, it's pretty much I mean, it's more common in the current Pokemon games that each place has its own song, since they're not limited on music space. But this song kind of like stands out as one of those themes, and this game has a lot of those.
You know, it's kind of funny. I like this song, but I do have to kind of knock it down some points.
I kind of understand why. Because it's a good song. It's not like, you explain it. I'm having a hard time trying to put it into words.
I don't know where you're going with it, but to me, the second half is literally Hyrule Castle from Link to the Past.
Go to that part, because
It's playing right now. Listen to the progression.
I can somewhat hear it.
So like that was the first thing that came to mind when I was re-listening to it, and I even saw the comments, like a lot of people saying it sounds like Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, I can definitely get it.
But I get it's unique enough to like still warrant having a higher grade. Like, so this is supposed to be like an entertainment city, right?
Kind of.
Like it's very like casino nightclubby.
I think you're thinking of the city with Elise or Elisa, whatever her name is. That's the one next to it.
I remember someone saying something about like so like roller coasters and stuff.
Am I mixing up two cities then? Fairly sure this is Clay's.
I like I said, it's been way too long for me.
Because then that would be Elise or Elisa's theme, her city, which has the carnival ride.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like the song, but I'm fairly sure it's Clay's theme. Or Clay City. I'll go back and double check. I mostly don't tend to look at the comments. Personally,
I just sometimes I'll do it to like reaffirm like a thought I have or something.
Because I tend to write my list like when going to work or coming back home. I don't, since I'm on mobile, it doesn't give me the option to look through comments. So I don't have the ability to.
You go look through comments.
On a playlist?
Yeah.
On
There's a
mobile?
little arrow that you type or you just press and it puts it up.
Huh. I'll have to look again. Anything else you want to say for the song?
No.
Well, I give it an 8.5.
I'd probably give it somewhere around an 8, but 6.
What?
Actually, no, I'd give it like a 7. I'll just put it at a 7.
I would probably give it an 8. I give it a 6.
This isn't the song I was thinking of. But I'll give it a 7. There's a song later on. I think it's two from here. Is the one that I knocked down because of all the stealing.
I think I know why.
All right. Next will be Unwavering Emotions.
Now,
Aerith.
I want to say this. Did you like this song? And why is it at least a 9 or an 8?
I gave it exactly in between those two.
I gave it a 10. We'll get the scoring done now, and then we can talk about it.
I have no recollection of the song whatsoever. But man, I like it.
If I remember right, it's when Bianca's like talking to you, and then her dad comes in to try to bring her home, and then she like tells him like, "Oh no, I'm not coming home. I'm trying to find myself and be a person on my own," kind of thing.
It's been far too long for me.
This is why I like this game. It has like a lot of good moments. Like this song is just out of nowhere.
Like honestly, this song reminds me of like any old like big JRPG name kind of like song.
I would like for whenever they remake Black and White, for them to voice the stupid games. I want voice acting. And I don't want silent protagonists. It has to happen. This song deserves like voice acting along with it. Whether you like Japanese voices or English voices, this song is really good. It's very emotional. It's very sad.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And I do kind of agree that like this would definitely be boosted if there is like voices over it. But we're gonna get 90s like 4 kids.
I don't know. I don't think I have faith in Nintendo that they wouldn't allow that. I mean, just look at Pokemon Masters. That has really good voice acting.
That is actually good, but is that actually Pokemon?
I would have to double check. I uninstalled it. Mainly,
Nice.
I would probably reinstall it since my phone can actually handle it. If it wasn't for the fact I was sucked into Yu-Gi-Oh so hard. I mean, I like Pokemon Masters and I liked the characters. Obviously, I liked having Hilda as like one of the easily to obtain like characters, especially getting her Snivy to become what was it? Superior. Pretty good mon. Yeah, this is a very high quality song.
I agree.
And the music producer didn't have to go so hard, but they did. They went above and beyond for a single moment in the game.
I do applaud them. Just really quick, literally in the first two chords, it sounds exactly like Aerith's themes from Final Fantasy VII.
I'm trying to remember her theme.
It's like the overused sad song people use in YouTube videos. Like they only like meme on it for like the first, like literally three chords.
It's not coming to mind, but I'll probably just look it up when I can.
Great song.
It is very good song.
Now we'll move on to the ripoff song.
Yeah, this one I definitely labeled as a Zelda song. I actually labeled it as a Zelda Chrono Trigger song.
Yes.
The song is going to be Dragon Spiral Tower.
So this is a song I was confusing with Nimbasa City. So this song is literally the Light World dungeon of Link to the Past and Secret of the Forest from Chrono Trigger.
That's what I was thinking of. That's verbatim what I was thinking of.
Yeah, this is the one I looked into the comments for reaffirmation, and yes. How can it not listen to that?
I mean, it's very clearly ripped off. I mean, one of them is a Nintendo-owned IP, so it's okay for that. The other one being, was it the...
Square?
Yeah, the other one being Square. It's very weird. I like it, though. It's a very good mix of stealing music.
It is the Led Zeppelin of Pokemon. I do like the song, though.
Yeah, I do.
I'm not going to lie, but like I have to knock it down some points just because it's so blatant. But I'll link the other two songs for Light World Dungeon of Link to the Past and Secret of the Forest for Chrono Trigger. You'll hear exactly what we're talking about immediately.
Yeah, you can literally play the first song, stop, then play the other one, and then you get this song.
But I gave it a 6.5, which is still good, but I just,
I give it an
higher.
8. Honestly, there's not much more to really go on the song because it's a very quick loop. And despite the fact, like, the most talkable part is just how copied of a series it is. And, I mean, there's really not much I can really say else.
Song good, but it's unoriginal.
Yeah. Now we're going to get another original song, which I'm sad is not used in the second one outside of the cafe.
So I would have killed you if you did not put this song in the game.
I would have killed myself if I wouldn't put this song in the game.
So this is Route 10.
Literally the best route song in all of Pokemon.
This is probably my favorite Pokemon song of all time. Now, I'm going to admit, I listen to a lot of video game music on my own. Like, I have it in my iTunes and stuff. And I've been doing that since I was a kid. I never actually listened to Pokemon music outside of playing the games until this song. So that should mean a lot.
Which was funny because it wasn't until our shared playthrough of, well, not really shared, but when we were both playing through this game, and we both ended up getting to this as like, oh my god, this is the best song.
I literally just sat there and listened to it on loop for like probably close to an hour, just because I didn't want to like stop hearing it.
And again, it's very French. Like if you put this in Gen 6, it would fit. But it's not in Gen 6. Because it's in the more superior Gen 5.
So there's like a style that this is. Like it's a mix of like French and Spanish music that other games have used. And I'm not exactly sure what the direct style is, but I'll link it. And I want to talk about that song at some point in the future. It's like Sunset on the Corner from Wild Arms 5. Very stylistically similar.
Isn't that the Wild Wild West JRPG?
Yeah. Never played it. I heard it in something.
Yeah, I remember you showing me a song. But yeah, the very end of the Black and White, or Pokemon Black and White, has like very high quality music. Like they just jumped everything into the end, which is saying something because the rest of the music is still good, like really good. But for like a Pokemon game, it has the highest quality. It's like the average is like above average. And then they just bring out Route 10, and it's like, I don't want to say magnum opus because there's a lot of good songs, but I want to say it's magnum opus. Because I gave the song a 10. I had to.
I gave it a Route 10 out of 10. Easy joke.
10 routes out of 10.
But like, there's just everything in this song that I love. Like, obviously the French accordion that we've both mentioned. I like the French bass, fretless bass.
Wee wee.
And then the strings are actually melodic, as well as being a rhythm section. And most importantly, they serve as a counter melody, which is cool.
Very cool.
10 out of 10 again. So 20 out of 10.
Times 20, so that's 200 out of 10.
That's 400. 20 times 20.
Oh, you're right. I was thinking times 10 in my head.
400 out of 10.
All right. Now we have another really good song, which is the Elite Four theme.
You might want to strangle me.
Don't tell me you dislike this one.
So I don't hate the song as its like own thing, but out of literally every single gen, I think this is my least favorite song.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Are you saying
6,
for the
7, and 8. Elite Four.
Elite Four?
Not champion, Elite Four.
Really?
Yes. Actually, no. 4 and 6 might be under it. But like 3 and...
I mean, I can understand 6. 6 is just like an inferior version of this song. In like every way.
3 and 7, though.
I will admit, I love 7s, but it's like up there with this one. Like, this is an iconic Elite Four song. I would say it would go 5, 7, 3 tied with 2, and then the rest. Because the Elite Four doesn't really count in 8, because it's just more like a tournament.
It doesn't feel like it's epic enough, as much as I hate that word.
I would disagree. Like, I'm not wanting it to be so grandiose or grandiose.
That was accidental French.
So, for me, I like for when the battle is intimidating or it makes it feel like you're going against an actual threat or somebody or something that's imposing. And like the bass, as well as like the speed that it's going at, for me gives the intensity that I like.
To me, it just sounds like it should be a gym leader battle.
I mean, I did say that I believe it was, or the gym leader battle was just kind of like showing hints of what the Elite Four one would be, which is the same bass type of beat, but like faster and more intense. And I feel like it just has the more dark energy, which is funny because you have the Dark Trainer, the Ghost Trainer, and then Psychic and Fighting, which is 2/3 of them are like dark themed.
I will say though, this at least showed me best Elite Four girl.
Chantal?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can agree on that one.
The next is Agatha, right?
No. You get out of here. I mean, at least you're not saying the old lady from Gen 4.
Who is that?
I can't remember her name.
I mean, I said another old lady.
Well, it is an old lady, but she's also like old. And then there's the dragon lady in Gen 6, which I'm not a fan of design-wise. She has like dinosaur bones like on her, or like dragon stuff, and just like shoes, I think, that are dragon-esque.
I honestly don't even remember.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that Elite Four.
I played that game in 2018, and I can't even tell you a lot of stuff that happened.
The most memorable one for me is the dude who's dressed up as a knight, followed by the water dude. But because I had Pokemon that were like all weak to water, that I struggled against that person. Anyways, like I said, the intense bass beat, it just gives me it gives a big bad feel. Even though they're not really villains, they're just the imposing force before the end of the game.
Yeah, I get it, but 5. That's average.
I hate you. 10. I give it a 10.
All right, we'll move on to another mediocre song. Zekrom and Reshiram battle. This honestly sounds more like Victory Road.
I mean, you're on the way to Victory Road. Well, technically you're past it, but you're going to win anyways. I mean, if you think about it, you're guaranteed to catch the Pokemon anyways. If you kill it, you restart the battle.
I think I caught my Zekrom in a Pokeball.
I mean, you're guaranteed retries, so it's like probably the easiest thing. Just retry it. I think it actually has a lower catch or a higher catch rate percentage compared to most legendaries.
That wouldn't be surprising. Although it didn't matter because Mark gave me his Reshiram anyway.
Yeah, I remember that.
I abused it.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I mean, I prefer Zekrom, but Pokemon Black seems so much cooler. Because, you know, we get the superior Black City compared to White Forest.
But at least in White Forest, you can catch Pokemon.
Yeah, but Black City has better music.
We'll get there. I have things to say about both.
I'm sure you do. But as far as legendary Pokemon themes for box legendaries, I would say this is actually pretty good. The only other one that beats this would be the Hoenn Trio.
No.
No?
I'd say the two that beat it are the Reggies and Giratina.
I'm saying box legendaries.
Oh, box. I thought you said boss.
No. because there's much better. Like for legendary Pokemon themes, there's the uh the legendary knight or the legendary knights, the genies would share a theme. You have the Reggies, you have Deoxys. Try to remember every one of them. You have the legendary beasts. I mean that list is ever growing.
So I rescind what I said because I misheard you.
Yeah, you better. It's very triumphant of a song though.
It is.
And also it sounds like a Gen 1 song.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't remember the actual name or where it's used.
Yeah, I think it's above average.
Technically, it is for me too.
Did you put like a 5.5?
6.
I put a 7.
So it has like that Gen 1 part, but it also kind of reminds me a little bit of 90s techno. It's weird.
Just a bit. But now we go into N's better battle theme. N's decisive battle.
This is the far superior version of the two because it actually does things.
Yeah, it has a huge. You know what's funny? When I got to this song, I had to go back and forth multiple times. I'm like, wait, I'm making sure I'm not just gonna put the same song again, right? And then I was thinking, it's just like when I was first listening to this version, I'm like, oh, I'll just get rid of the first one. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna keep both for contrast or for comparison's sake.
The good call. So this actually reminds me a little bit of Ganon/Ganondorf's battle themes.
So more Zelda.
Yeah. Although not as blatant.
I would say Castlevania. Mainly for the church organ.
I want to say I have... Yeah. There is a Castlevania-like song that I have written down, but we haven't got to it yet.
I think I know which one it might be.
Oh, listen to those farty trumpets. That is very Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Party trumpet.
That's been like my favorite word to describe certain brass.
It toots all right. But yeah, this song is like it feels like they took this song and then just downgraded to like lesser stuff. And it also sounds like it has a mix of the legendary Pokemon battle theme for like the genies and the legendary knights.
I don't think I've ever caught like any of them.
I want to say I caught one of the genies, and you're kind of forced to catch them in Black and White too. Which is not like a bad thing.
Wait, I think I caught the
grass. I think
rock.
You caught that one.
No, I got
There's
Tornadus.
no rock. There's
I got Tornadus.
Yeah, because you get Tornadus, I get Thunderous, and then you get Landorus when you have both.
Is Landorus not rock?
It's ground. It's ground flying.
It's functionally the same thing.
Tornadus is flying. I think it's pure flying. And then Thunderous is electric flying. Which is weird. And then you have the Therian form, or the alternate forms. So their genie forms are their stronger version. And then you have like their animal version, which is not as strong. But it's still good. It's because they have like other abilities. And fun facts, it's, I know a little bit more about the competitive Pokemon stuff. Uh,
Bidoof.
Landorus is actually one of the most usually banned Pokemon because it's just too good. It just does too many things well. It could be a bulky Pokemon. It could be a hard-hitting Pokemon. It could be a lead. It can set up rocks and be a hazard control. It just functions too much at like everything.
Isn't Bidoof banned too?
The Doof band?
Bidoof.
What? Oh, it's banned for like. I think they just banned that ability because it's just like too easy to stall out.
That is some of the funniest stuff. I just think it reminded me of that picture where it's the one Bidoof versus like the 5 legendaries.
They outnumber us, then it is an even fight. Yeah. As far as iconic final, like a Pokemon League champion themes, this is up there. I would say it's probably not as good as Cynthia's, but it's up there.
I know this doesn't really count, but it's like somewhere in the same field. Red.
You mean from
Gen 2?
Gen 2? Well, that's also Lance's.
Oh, yeah, so it is. Thing. That one's hard to beat.
That one's really good. And then you have green or blue, depending on which region you're from. If you're from NA, it's blue. Or anything outside of Japan, I think, is the only ones that got green as the translation.
So what'd you rate the song?
I give it a 9 out of 10.
I give it a 7.5 for one stupid, simple reason.
Why?
Orchestral hits.
Oh, that's right. You don't like them.
I hate them so much. Why do they have to ruin so many songs? All right,
now,
we'll move on to...
Pretty sure you're not going to like this. Or you didn't like this next song.
Gets this?
Yeah.
All right, spoiler alert, 9.
Really? Well, we share that. Spoiler alert. I honestly thought you didn't like guests or wouldn't like Guest's theme because it's not as musical. I don't know. I just had an idea that you wouldn't like it.
I love it because it's just so needlessly dramatic.
I mean, it fits the character.
It's like the only song that I think rivals this one in terms of like just how crazy and dramatic it is Rose.
Oh, he has a weirdly like serious theme.
I love Rose's theme.
I don't even remember it off the top of my head.
It's basically like Dark Souls. There's like crazy like choir and piano.
Yeah, as far as like theming goes, Gestis takes it out of the park. He is literally the final boss of the game, and they gave him a final boss theme.
I was gonna say it sounds like literally like the most climactic battle.
Yeah, it's like the dude wrote the song himself because he has his name being said in the song.
Although it sounds a lot like Dennis.
Dennis, Dennis, Dennis. I will never not unhear that.
Like I heard it before I even checked the comments, and then every single comment is basically just saying, "It's like people named Dennis must really hate this song."
Could be worse. Could be like Josh having a fight for your name. Wait, you didn't hear about that?
What?
You didn't hear about the gathering of people named Josh?
No.
For the Battle of the Name? Yeah, they, So, a dude named Josh texted a bunch of other people named Josh in a group chat for Josh's for after a year to fight, which was the 24th. Wait, no, today's the 27th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert, this is the day of recording.
Oh, no.
So, they ended up all fighting, and they didn't like fist fight. They used pool noodles to fight, and then the winner was a little kid named Josh. He was like 5 or something. And so in order to like prepare like everything for the thing, the guy who organized it said he was gonna use all the proceedings to get everybody there. He actually donated everything to charity.
That's nice.
Which the hospital that they donated to happened to be the hospital where that little kid was from. Or was in for I think a medical condition. So he won in like multiple ways, which is really cool.
Everybody won after hearing that story.
Yeah, that was a very nice story.
What a weird story to talk while this
I
dramatic music is playing.
I'm sorry. I needed a little wholesomeness from the dentist. But yeah, Gestis was like blessed with like final boss music, which is rare in a Pokemon series. I wish they would have go more back to like this type of storytelling, where like there's actual
Stake.
Yeah, there's actual stake in it. It feels like you're going against a moral like high ground. Like it's like, hey, Pokemon probably actually don't want to be captured, and they probably don't like it. So people are releasing Pokemon or like turning in their Pokemon. And it's just like, well, by battling, are you doing the right thing anymore? It's just like, it's the whole. It's like the theming of the game: ideals versus truth.
I mean, they kind of went in that direction with 8.
Not really. It wasn't themed throughout, though. That's the problem. With Gen 5, it was like, this is the... It's pretty much the yin-yang trio.
Literally black and white.
Or, what is it? The Tao trio, I think they're called? Because you have knowledge and... you have... I just said it. It was truth and ideals. And then Kyurem is supposed to represent a third thing. And I can't remember it. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, this game is very heavily themed. Everything matched.
I'll play White 2 eventually.
You should. It's a good game. I mean, I prefer the main cast from the first game. But it's cool having the second cast in. I mean, an older version of the original cast, and then your rival, who's a kid. It's honestly like one of the only Pokemon games I wish like you could continue your story as like the original character, because the entire thing is, I think in Black and White 2, N wants to battle the main character again from the first game.
Anything else?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay. I'll move on to the next song.
Which is not as good as the other song.
White Forest. This is a Lion King and a Bug's Life. It's okay.
It sounds like something else, but I don't think it sounds like Lion's King or A Bug's Life. At least not to me. You know what? It kind of reminds me of Trails in the Sky.
I suppose I can hear that.
Like, this is totally field music.
Yeah, I can hear it. Although I don't think they're as sappy.
I don't think it needs to be as sappy. I mean, it's very cheery and happy. Doesn't necessarily have to be sappy.
I'm saying that this song is sappy in comparison.
Oh. I don't know. It's pretty fitting to me.
I just want to write I want to say the joke I wrote. It's really stupid, but I put no effort into it. So, do you know why I like this zone?
Why?
Because it's where I can chill with all my pals.
Ha 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 ha.
All right.
Moving on. So, for those who are unaware, for each game for Black and White for Black and White, they gave each game a very unique area that was labeled after the specific game it's in. So, in Pokemon White, you got White Forest, and then you have in Pokemon Black, Black City, which we'll cover as the next song. Pretty much the difference is White Forest is an area where you can catch Pokemon.
That's not from the game.
Yeah, it's pretty much anything outside. Well, so after you beat the game, pretty much the right area from Opelucid City is essentially just all new Pokemon. It's just like, oh, we're gonna mix in Pokemon from other generations. So it's like that's when your Pokedex actually opens up, and it's not just Unova. So Pokemon like Gligar come to mind. Volby, I'm pretty sure is. Actually, no, I think Volby is from Gen 5.
Pidgey.
Yeah, well, that's in White Forest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly. Isn't it just mostly Kanto Pokemon? Plus, don't you have to go in there like every day?
Yeah, you have to like open it up to like a week or something. Like you get more variety.
Yeah, same thing for Black City, except it's trainers. So you have to battle every day in order to unlock more trainers. And if you stop, you have to start from the beginning.
It's whack.
It's really dumb. Yeah, this song it's good. It's not bad. I enjoy it.
By the way, for anybody that didn't get my stupid joke, it's a play on the Pal Park.
Yeah, it's essentially the same thing.
All right, 5 out of 10.
I gave it a 7.
I swear to God.
What? I like it.
All right, moving on. I'm not going to bring this up again.
It's not average. I don't know what your problem is with my scoring,
All right,
sir.
we're moving on to Black City.
Which is really good.
Theming, music, far, far, far superior.
Way better. Especially the way it looks. It looks really cool.
Functionally, it's worse.
I mean, we're not bringing up the functionality of the place. We're just talking about the music and the theme and everything else, but the functionality. So let's just stick to the music portion of it. So in terms of Black City, it came out swinging. It's just a very catchy tune. It's very dark and sinister.
Very, because it's literally like it's a corporate like concrete jungle.
Yeah. So like when you first start in, it's just like a blank canvas, and then when you start battling people, these buildings just sprawl out of nowhere. So it's just constantly evolving as you fight people. And this changes every day. So as long as you battle every day, the city fills out more and more. But yeah.
I mean, just looking at it, this it's like part always made me jealous.
Yeah, it was a cool part of the game.
But then I got the Pokemon, then I didn't feel as bad.
Yeah, that you couldn't use it until whenever you start for Pokemon White 2.
I have my Pidgey, that's all I care about.
I guess.
Remember, my Pidgey, or eventually my Pidgeot, is always my carry, regardless of the gen or gym.
I mean, it's just a very easy Pokemon to use.
Exactly. It's bird with like dummy strength.
It's dummy thick.
I'm not going to comment on that one.
All right. So I'm going to give this song a 10 out of 10.
I give it an 8.5 out of 10. But this is the one that I marked down as being like Castlevania-y.
I can kind of hear it.
Also, Legend of Zelda again. Big surprise.
Yeah, very Legend Zelda-y. All right. So now we have the Legendary Trio. And this works for the Genies as well as the Legendary Knights.
This is a weird, trippy song.
I love it. It's just, the pace changes so much.
It's already lower, and you know why.
Oh, orchestral hits.
Yep.
I think it's forgiven for me in this song. I don't hate the orchestral hits nearly as much as you.
So
but for me...
go ahead.
For me, this song is very intense. Like, it is very, very good way of marking, like, you're going against a legendary Pokemon. And there are other songs that do that give a specific theme for certain type of groups or trios or... Sorry. I had like
You good?
like a sucking of air and try to burp at the same time. But pretty much I would lump this up there with those really good Pokemon themes for specific groups like the Reggies, Legendary Beasts. There was another one earlier. Deoxys, like where they have their own theme. It's weird that it's used for two different trios. Like they could have given them different songs, but they didn't, and I don't mind because I really like the song.
It is pretty good. I kind of feel like this is what should have been the box legendary theme. Just because like it feels, I mean, it's the box legendary,
Yeah.
but instead we got Verizon 5G. But I mean, yeah, it's still a great song minus the orchestral hits. I hate them. And it's like almost the whole song.
It's literally the song. It is orchestral hits the song. I actually wonder if this one would sound better with like more real instruments and sounds.
Thinking about it, like there's not really any real thing outside of like a piano and the drums. As far as like, you know, authentic acoustic instrument. But
What would be that sound?
which one?
The dun dun dun.
Those are orchestral hits.
No, not the dun dun dun. Doodle doodle doodle.
Sounded like a piano.
It also sounds like a countdown or something. This. Wait, maybe it's a different part of the song. Or you know what? Maybe I'm remembering a version of the song where somebody kind of like edited the song and added a little extra sounds to it. I think that's what it is.
Okay. I'll have to take your word for it.
Yeah, where they added like race car, like a ding, 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 ding.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it for you.
I know. I think it was N's battle or something, or maybe it was Dennis. But like there was like a ticking clock in one of them.
Well, there is in Cold Rest's.
Maybe
There's
that
a
was
countdown.
it. Well, no, okay, it's not that one. So despite the orchestral hits, I still gave it an 8. which should say a lot considering how much I hate them.
Yeah, so if you actually like them, this would probably be 10 in his book. Or a 9.
Did you rate it?
Yeah, it's out of 10.
Oh. All right, moving on to the final song.
Which is a Black and White 2 song.
World Tournament Final Battle.
Which is probably the only real new song in the Pokemon World Championship or Pokemon World Tournament, because they just reused all the other themes. They just updated them. So like the champions, gym leaders. I don't think the Elite Four was in it. I think it's just champions and gym leaders, which is weird as to why you wouldn't have the Elite Four.
They're too busy.
Which doesn't make sense. But yeah, this is like one of the only unique songs out of the Pokemon World Tournament. And it's really good.
This is another song that's Japanese to a fault.
But does that take away from it?
No. Just an observation.
It also has a very Gen 3 type of feel to it.
Trumpets
up the wazoo.
And it's not the farty kind of trumpets either.
I forgot about fart trumpets.
This song is kind of a mess from like a writing standpoint, but it's still really good despite that. It actually it doesn't remind me of Gen 3. It reminds me more closer to like Gen 8.
I can kind of get that. Maybe that's what Gen 8 music got inspired from.
Well, it's like weird. It's like it's playfully serious, if that makes any sense.
I mean, it's a tournament. It's supposed to be something like that is also competitive and fun. Which I kind of wish they did more things like this, where you go against people from other or older generations.
Even though I like never touched like the battle stuff like past in post game, I still think it's a cool thing to like have.
This is like a weird post game though. Like it's not competitive sets. It's like you're going against their like best versions of what their parties would be.
Cynthia, Garchomp.
Cynthia's team is essentially the same. Blue's
6
team is essentially the same. Red's team is essentially the same. So it's like only real change is the gym leaders. They have more updated rosters.
What were the non-starters for Red? Was it Aerodactyl?
The non-starters?
Yeah, so like not any of the first 3 or Pikachu.
What?
So you know, Red has Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, Pikachu.
Yeah.
Starters.
Okay.
What are the non-left 2?
Like,
what does he have that in the fight?
Oh, you mean the rest of his party?
Yeah, the literal
It's
only
Lapras,
2 left.
Snorlax, and so it's the starters, Pikachu, and then Snorlax and Lapras.
Oh, where was I getting Aerodactyl from?
You're probably thinking Lance. He gets an Aerodactyl.
Maybe. But
And
this
then,
part reminds me of Mega Man.
Yeah, it sounds more like Star Force.
That's what I mean. Super Japanese.
Yeah, I feel like this is the true end game of like the Pokemon League for this game, because you already beat the Pokemon League for Unova.
If that's the case, I'll do it.
I mean, it's still like a bonus thing, but it feels very fun to play. It feels like you're finished with the game when you do this.
I was meaning more of the fact like it's not competitive, so I don't mind doing it.
Yeah, like I don't mind non-competitive stuff. Like I don't mind end game content, including stuff that like you can do or fight against someone where it's not like they have like a Pokemon showdown style of team. If like the team is just harder, like they have more serious moves instead of just like harden,
reflect.
Like, I mean, reflect has its uses, but like if their team has like a goal, like each Pokemon has like a goal in what it needs to do and to make that team better. Like you have like the gym leaders have like a support mon, or like a Pokemon that's like gonna hit hard. Or even if they all had Pokemon that just hit hard, that's fine by me. As long as it's just challenging. That's all I really want.
I see what you mean. Wasn't there something like that in Gen 6?
Gen 6. I think the Pokemon Chateau, which sucked because after a while you ended up just going against people with Pokemon that had like stupid abilities and stupid sets. Because you got to win like a certain amount in a row. I think that's what you're thinking of.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then I think that's also where they made the mistake of giving one of the Pokemon that one of the people have, I think it's an Entei. They gave it Sacred Fire. That's supposed to be Ho-Oh's
That's
signature.
literal, signature.
And after that, they're like, well, we messed up in giving him Sacred Fire, so we'll just legitimately give him Sacred Fire.
So what do you rate it?
This one, I think I wrote down 10. I think I actually would just give it a 9. Actually, no, I did give it a 9.
I gave it a 9 as well. And that'll conclude the Black and White 1 and 2 collection thingy.
The music review for them.
And now we have personal songs, which will be continuing the Pokemon train.
Which mine will be Primal Dialga's theme for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I think Space and Time. But I actually stumbled. I've never played this specific game. I played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, just not this one. So when I heard this song, I'm like, this is so cool. Like, just the music itself is great. I really love it. And I don't hold like a personal attachment to like the game itself, so it's kind of a weird way to just try to describe the song. But if they were to redo their themes for Diamond and Pearl, I wouldn't mind if this just became the new theme for them, for Dialga and Palkia.
That feels really weird. I feel like this would not fit unless they completely like rewrote it to just like maintain the melody.
I mean, unless you merge the two songs in some way.
You can do that. So for me, this reminds me of two things, and you're going to think it's weird. So it reminds me of like, there's a heavy like frontier Wild West feel to it. Kind of like what was it, a district something from Xenoblade?
District 9 or District 6?
It was one of the ones in the beginning.
District 9.
So it reminds me of that.
9, I think you mean.
Maybe I was thinking of the movie District 9.
Yeah, that's probably why.
I'm like, District 9 sounds like that doesn't sound right. Anyway.
Fun fact, that was actually supposed to be the Halo movie. But I think it was Microsoft backed out. And so they're like, well, we still got like all this money. Let's just make an Alien movie.
Sounds about right. I mean, that's essentially how Blizzard came to be with WoW or Warcraft. That was supposed to be Warhammer 40K.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's like, well, we have all these assets. Let's make our own. Anyways, it has that. And then it It's just the use of the minor chords, like the way they progress reminds me of Mega Man X in some way.
I can hear that.
Also, Dialga is better than Palkia.
I 100% agree. I hate Palkia. And I ended up calling dibs on the remake for the Diamond and Pearl games.
Didn't you have both originals?
Yes.
And you watched one of them?
No, well, the reason I had to get both is because my original version of Diamond was in my pocket accidentally. I took it out of it took it out of my DS, put it in my pocket because I was playing another game at a family party. Completely forgot that I had it in my pocket. My mom washed my pants, and that game got ruined. So then I needed Pokemon again. So I'm like, I'll just get Pearl. It'll be a different experience. It was worse because I can't get Rampardos because I like Cranidos, and also you get Palkia, which is vastly inferior. Which is funny because I did the same thing again with a different game, and that didn't happen.
You'll have it soon enough. What are the names? It's like Shining
Pearl and Brilliant Diamond, which they were so close to a JoJo reference.
You're gonna have to explain that one.
So, in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure season or part 4, there is a character named Josuke who has the stand. In the original, the actual name is Crazy Diamond.
Oh, yeah, Pink Floyd.
Yeah. The translated one, so that way they don't get sued, is Shining Diamond. So this was going to be the only time where people were happy for the name Shining Diamond. It's just like also a JoJo thing is the main villain's stand is called Killer Queen. And they just renamed it to Deadly Queen. And his other abilities is Bites the Dust and what's the other one? I'm forgetting the last one. It's another Queen song. So it's Killer Queen, Bites the Dust. If you start naming Queen songs, it'll hit me.
Is it like one of their popular ones?
Yeah. I want to say it is.
Oh, God. I mean, there's obviously like Bohemian Rhapsody.
No.
Is it maybe Sheer Heart Attack?
Yeah.
Okay, I had a feeling.
Sheer Heart Attack.
That's their first album, I think, which has Killer Queen on it.
Which is funny because, so, Killer Queen's main ability is to blow things up. Sheer Heart Attack is like, its hand has like a tank thing that'll track. That's Sheer Heart Attack. And Bites of the Dust is like a time-based one. So, spoilers for part 4 that has been out for a while. But Bites the Dust is he reverses time slightly. So if his son tells anybody who he is, it's not really his son. It's he killed the person that he ended up like taking the family over. Like he like took the person's face on his, or no, he took off the. I'm trying to remember how it was. Pretty much, he just like swapped like faces with the person as well as
John
hair.
Travolta.
Yeah, pretty much. So he's like impersonating the kid's like father, and so the kid's like trying to expose him. So when the kid finds out who he is, in a way to keep him from telling anybody, he imposed bites the dust. So if he tells anybody, they instantly die or they explode, and it resets time.
Sounds par for the course.
Yeah. So every time it resets, even if he doesn't tell anybody, the fact that he told that person, they're still gonna die regardless. And so if he tells anybody else, they'd get blown up, and it resets time again, and it resets as much as it happens. So yeah,
Fun fact.
fun fact about JoJo.
Well, I was gonna say something.
What?
So, over time, my favorite Queen songs have moved to the suite. That's Tenement Funster,
Flick of
Flick of the Wrist, and then Lily of the Valley, which is the first 3 songs in that album, I think. Or is it? It's somewhere on that album. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
So what would you rate it?
I'd give it an 8.
That's pretty good. I think I also gave it an 8. I gave it a 9. So it's good. 3, 4, and 5 is the track.
All right. Next is Cody's song.
All right. I chose Lily's theme from Sun and Moon. Good God, I did not expect to get attached to Lily as much as I did.
I mean, she's practically the main character of the game.
Yeah, Sun and Moon are pretty much nothing.
Yeah, they're just Lily's game. I honestly would have preferred if you just played as Lily.
Me too.
Because, I don't know, just all these characters that they make you play around kind of sucks playing the main character.
Although, if you played Lily, they can't have her having a personality or anything, so she would have just had
They could have kept the personality, just let you play
Eric,
as
you don't
her.
understand. It's Pokemon.
I know what it is that they do. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like silent protagonists. It's just stupid. Like, it's such an archaic thing. Let's just do away with it.
I agree.
Like, I want a character with their own personality. Like, I've played Pokemon so many times that, like, I don't want to just be me putting myself in that person's, like, body. I just want, like, a character that has, like, emotion or just shows everything, not just smiles during life crises.
They're literally like deadpan smile. Every single cutscene, like the world's ending, smile.
Yeah, I think that was one of the other complaints people had, as well as these super long cutscenes.
And how god awfully it ran on the original 3DS.
Oh, yeah. The first one was not optimized. Sun and Moon were not optimized for that game.
Anybody who has played and suffered with me on the original 3DS and has gone through
doesn't
that
even run.
Salazzle fight,
Even on the new 3DS, it doesn't run that well.
you have no idea.
I know you dealt with it worse. Trust me, I know. I saw you. You complained. You were very, very descriptive as what or how bad it was.
The Salazzle fight, the one where it summons an army of
Slandits.
yeah. Wait.
Yes.
Yes. I couldn't remember which one was which. But yeah, it summons like, was it like 4 or 5 Salandits? And literally it just becomes unplayable. Because like, it becomes so choppy and like...
You have a hard time controlling your Pokemon.
You literally have to like struggle and like wait a couple of seconds to navigate your menu, which you know is Pokemon.
Yeah, they didn't go through testing that apparently.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
they probably tested about 1 or 2. They didn't test about anything higher.
That was some of the worst I've experienced.
But yeah, I personally feel like at this point, let us play as
Just
Lily.
make us a character.
Just make the character the one you want to make the story about. Make us the Lily. Make us the How or the Hop. Give us a character with personality. Actually, no, don't give us How. I will take Hop. I don't want How.
Nobody wants How.
Heck, make it like this. You could be either Gladian or Lily.
Perfect.
Gladian
It's already done.
Yeah. It's male and female character.
No one cares about Plumeria.
Yeah. And then you can do the same thing with what's it called? Sword and Shield.
Marnie
and Hop. It's like you could just slightly change the story a bit. Just based on who you pick. It's not hard. I'm fairly sure there's games that do that or have done that in the past where if you change it or if you select a character, this is the story you get or this is the wording you get. The dialogue box just changes.
Yes. It's been like that since like the 90s.
Exactly. It's not hard. It's a bit of work. More work than Game Freak apparently wants to do.
They're not a bad company, right?
I don't want to say they're a bad company. I think they're a poorly managed company.
Okay. Let me rephrase that. They're not a incompetent company, right? That's the word.
Yeah. That's definitely the word. Because they have good ideas. The stories and ideas that they have aren't bad. Like, I wouldn't mind all the gimmicks if, like, the story and the gameplay just was done better. And, like, if you had a character. Like, a character. Not just just like, oh, well, what do you think? Well, that's interesting. Glad you feel that way.
You're essentially playing the plot of Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, I get it. Pokemon's more for kids that are age 10. But I'm pretty sure a kid that's age 10 wants to play a character that is cool or that is cute and has personality to them. Like, oh my god, this person is going through this. Oh my god, that's so relatable. Or, oh, my character is just watching this person experience this. I can't console them because I am a lifeless shell.
Although a kid wouldn't know that yet.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I get it. It's just not everybody that plays Pokemon is a kid. I'm not saying you have to pander towards the older audience. Just give us a bit more. Where at
Put
this point,
into it.
At this point, there's so many different people that play Pokemon. You can't just pander to the kids.
And it's literally not 1996 anymore.
Yeah, it's Pokemon. Our generation grew up with Pokemon. We're at this point, we're probably more invested in it than the kids that are just getting into it now.
Come on, Game Freak.
All right. Well, now that tangent's over, unless you have anything more you want to say.
We literally did not talk about the song once.
Yeah, I know. We talked about the character and then. So, Lily has a very French song. And I actually like it. It's also a little sad.
Oh my
which
god.
Is very telling of her actual character. I'm pretty sure Lily is like going through depression during the game. If you think about it. I mean, she's going through an identity crisis.
Her mom's abusive.
Her mom's abusive and manipulative.
What more do you want?
I mean, even Gladian, he's abandoned, abused. I don't know if he would be depressed, but he definitely was the more like mentally tough one. Like, I mean, regardless, you feel bad for both characters.
I think the way Sun and Moon works is like a pretty good representation of what happens to kids when you're heartless.
Yeah. When you're like not a good parent or just abusive. Which is, like I said, if you want the proper ending to Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, play Sun and Moon, beat the game. Now get through the game again, beat it, and then you get like the full ending. Because it's just like there's a transition to where it almost feels like they wanted the events of Sun and Moon to happen again, and then Necrozma, spoiler alerts, like catches the legendary, and then at that point you have to deal with like the ultra worm hole space or whatever it was called, or ultra space I think it was called.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't think you played it.
Oh, well, I mean, you go there in the original one.
Kinda. They give you like a little place versus an ultra sun and moon. They give you like more stuff to do.
And they made an Ultra Beast after Caitlyn.
Which one are you talking about?
The jellyfish.
Oh, that's why Lily is dressed the way she is. Because
Right.
Lusamine saw the Nihilego and dressed her up to look similar.
Yeah, she's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But Nihilego is made after Caitlyn.
I mean, if you think about it, she froze her Pokemon. Any of her Pokemon that she thought was cute, she froze them.
Not weird.
It's a little twisted. But yeah, as a song, it's very sad. It has hints of happiness. And I really enjoyed it. I think it's very matching for the character. And I would give it a 9 out of 10.
So I'm not going to lie. When the ending of Sun and Moon happened, I legitimately cried while this song was playing, and she just went off to Kano. And I had no idea that was coming.
I kind of wish we could just like continue the story of these characters, but unfinished plot holes or open story points,
never to be touched again. What happens to Kanto? What happens to Johto? What happens to Hoenn? What happens to... I forgot the name of it. Yeah, Sinnoh. What happens to Unova? What happens to France?
Kalos.
That one. What happens to Alola? What happens to Galar? We'll never know because they refuse to touch old lore.
Yeah, like what about the original dragon? The one that Kyurem was originally?
We'll never know.
It's like there's so many things that they could go back to. And I'm hoping Legends touches up on it, but I want games to where you go back and you go figure this stuff out. Like, I want a current game where you can play as like characters that have already been established and you could just catch Pokemon.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, just like, give you a different thing to do other than just go to gyms and beat the Elite Four in the Pokemon League. It's just, hey, here's this mystery we need to solve. Oh, well, there's these people that are stopping us from trying to figure this out. Maybe they're hiding something, or maybe they're trying to capture this Pokemon that we're trying to get or find info on, or maybe we discover a Pokemon that originally was here that we find now.
It's kind of implied through like what we've been already talking about, but just the thought of playing like a pre-established trainer. It's like you're no longer playing a kid out on their first experience. You're playing as, the champion of insert zone.
Yeah, it's like if you just gave us any. So like use Pokemon Masters. It's really what you could do. Just give me characters that you could play as through the story, and here's this predetermined Pokemon, and this is the story they're gonna go on. Like make predestined stories for these characters that they're gonna do. And it's like, hey, I did this one character, and I was able to catch Pokemon, do this, do that, and make it. You can even make it gen exclusive or like game exclusive to what characters you get, because Game Freak likes to split their games in half.
Still.
So it's like, hey, well, if you play as this game, well, you get these 3 characters, and then you get like these other 2 that are exclusive for this game. And then if you get the other one, you still get the same 3 characters. Now these 2 characters are exclusive. So it's like, they're going to get these Pokemon and they're going to go against these places and they're going to have options to catch these Pokemon.
The saddest thing is the only way this will ever happen is if someone does a ROM hack.
Yeah. I mean, it'll happen. I mean, there's a lot of really good ROM hacks. And, I mean, unless... Because right now, the way the way Nintendo has control of Pokemon, they have control of Creatures Inc. and they have the Pokemon Company. Then you have Game Freak that is in control of the games. And as long as they pump out one main story game a year, then they will be able to continue to create Pokemon.
Well, they already missed that mark with 2020.
No, they're gonna... They technically did it with Pokemon Sword and Shield, the expansions. Because it's still new content.
All right.
So they use that to kind of like extend their thing. And then you have the Diamond and Pearl remakes, which count. And then you have Legends Arceus, which isn't a main story game, but people are counting it as like a new thing to do. So I don't know. Well, we just got to see more what they do, especially next year.
All right, I'll wrap up on the song. So yeah, as you pointed out, it's very French. Literally, the piano is... I'm not even going to pronounce the name because I have no clue how to say it. But it's the Eric Satie song that everybody knows, which is a French composer.
I was like trying to think, but it wasn't coming to your mind.
I wrote down changes. So the song has 4 key changes, but I misread changes as chungus.
It has 4 big chunguses.
So I'm like, okay, where does that come in? All right, this song is crazy because I get, 4 key changes in like, what is it, like a minute 15 seconds or something? That's a lot.
Okay.
And as you said, yes, the song is happy and cute only for a little bit, and then it's like mostly sad because that's essentially Lily. Poor girl.
Kid's kind of rough. And then you find in Ultra Sun and Moon that their dad is alive.
He is?
Yeah. So what happens is an ultra wormhole opens up. That's what they're called, ultra wormholes. So, ultra wormhole opens up, takes him, and that's when Lusamine starts going crazy.
Huh.
And you'll actually find him in the game. He helps you. It'll be obvious once you play it. Because he has the same hairstyle as Gladion. Or not hairstyle, but like the hair... Or the way his hair works is very close to Gladion's.
He has a Skrillex cut?
No, it's just like the way you see their hairstyle. Like once you see the character, you'll understand what I mean. There's just various particulars about their hair.
All right. Well, I gave this song a 10 out of 10, despite having played it on the original 3DS. Good God. Never again.
Maybe I'll play Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon again.
I won't stop you. Well, that will do it for this episode of the VGOSTRAM Pokemon Black, White, Black 2 and Friends.
And that went everywhere. But yeah, that'll be the end of this week's episode. Did you want to say what we're going to do for the next video, or do you want to leave that open for the...
Nope, well, I'll say it.
Okay.
So we'll be debuting a new pilot, which is essentially just... It's called And More, of, the And More part of the name VGOSTRAM, Video Games Original Soundtrack Review and More. And I want to personally pertain it to just music and or video games. It doesn't have to be both at the same time. It could be one or the other. It could even just be anything that comes to mind. minus some topics, which should be kind of obvious. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how long it is. Shouldn't be too long.
Especially if we... So I think I have an idea of how we can do it. So I'll tell you once the episode ends. It's getting late for us. So
yes,
we'll definitely talk about it and work on it and discuss. So that'll end it for this week's episode. You'll see what's in store for the next podcast episode, which I'm looking forward to.
Me too. I got nothing else.
Neither do I. So y'all get out of here. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.